I need to break something, and like threw something on the floor. It didn't break, and I was just looking at him. I was like, what just happened? He had gotten like, what was it, $34,000 loan he thought?
$43,000
Yeah.
line of credit offer. And then the best part about this story is whenever I actually went to apply for it, I got denied. Cheers. Refreshing.
And welcome back to another installation of the Doughboys podcast. I'm your host, Flipping It with Cisco. And as always, I'm joined by my two studly, lovely co-hosts, Alpha Logan and Golden Locks McGill. What's going on, guys? How's your Christmas?
What's up?
Golden
Christmas was
Locks,
great.
Miguel. That's funny.
It's the best one yet.
Yeah, honestly, I might need to brand that.
You should. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Brand
Yeah.
everything. You should go and buy the domain today.
Yeah,
before
I'm
someone
gonna have
else
to
does.
look that up.
Actually, let me go buy it right now and I'll sell it to you. I'll
Yeah, that's a good
arbitrage
use
it to
of
you.
our time. All right.
Anyways, so as of the recording of this episode, it is right after Christmas and it is coming to an end of Q4. And I have a pretty interesting hot take here, and it is that you failed Q4.
Mm.
I want to get your guys' take on what you guys think I mean about you guys failed Q4.
Are you saying like us specifically or everybody?
Everybody.
Okay. I'm curious to hear where you're going with this, but my guess is either we didn't put in enough work beforehand, or we didn't put in enough during Q4 to prepare for Q4 and after Q4.
Josh, what do you think?
Yeah. You might just be thinking that whatever you did do, it wasn't enough because you could always do more. That's a different way of saying what Logan's saying. But yeah, I don't really know where you're going with
What do
that.
you mean, Cisco?
That's basically what I mean. And I think, to have a clearer picture of what I'm trying to say is that no matter how well you think you did, there's always room for improvement, right? If you kind of stay stagnant and are happy with how you've been doing things, eventually you're going to start declining and other people are going to start passing you. If you want to continue to being successful in life, in business, you have to look at the past, learn from it, and continue to improve those, right? And so now that Q4 is passing, right now is the time to see what worked for our Amazon business and what didn't work for our Amazon business, and figure out a plan on how to improve those on the next Q4. Because let's be honest, Q4 for a lot of people is half of their business for the year.
Mm-hmm.
Just because everyone's sales basically double, triple, quadruple for that one quarter. So right now is the time that it's fresh on your mind to go in and think about what you did wrong, what you can do better, and what you can do to improve going forward. So I wanted to ask Logan, what do you think you could have done better this Q4? Self reflect a little bit.
Yeah. There were definitely a lot of ASINs where I could have bought more of. There's a few specifically that I know do well every single year, and basically my entire stock. And I went relatively deep for me, sold out within a couple of days. So next year, and now that I have another year's worth of data to go off, I'm going to be going a lot deeper on those. So that's one thing. Another thing that kind of became a bit of a problem was I didn't have enough capital available during Black Friday. Like I think I mentioned here on the podcast before, during
Mhm.
Turkey 5, I wasn't able to spend as much money as I wanted to because I needed more access to capital. So I definitely could have prepared better for that as well.
Nice.
I don't know if you like these or the audience likes these, but I love putting in little tidbits of behind the scenes of working for Logan. And one is right around Q4 every year. He's always like, I didn't know what I was doing last year. I was an idiot. I'm so hyped for this year's Q4. And it's really funny because he was like, every year it's the same thing. It's like, oh, last year was a joke. You thought that was something? Wait till you see this year. And then right after it, he's just like, nah, that was nothing. Just wait till next year.
Yeah.
But the cool thing
Wait
about
till next year.
Q4, yeah, wait till next year. The cool thing about Q4 though is it rolls right into Q1, and Q1's still good. So you get to take like what you guys are learning and reflecting, and like who you're talking about, Cisco, and you get to immediately use what you've just learned in the next quarter, and it's still really good sales.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I love that what you said about Logan, just because it's kind of the mindset of someone who's always trying to consistently improve, right? Like one of the things that Tom Brady is super known for is they always ask him, which one was your favorite Super Bowl? And he always says the next one. So it sounds like
Mhm.
for Logan, which one's his favorite Q4? The
Next
next
one.
one. The next one 100%. Just because you're that much smarter and you know the game that much better, and you'll be able to kind of finesse whatever you need to continuously improve. And like you said, it does roll in over to the first quarter and whatnot to continue improving your business. I
Yeah.
think for me, what I failed to do, and I kind of knew it from last year, and I should have addressed it earlier, was outsource everything. I definitely
Yes.
found myself in the balance of FBMing everything and trying to spend time with my family. Because for me, families is super important. But I also have to make money to, pay for these Disney trips. So there's always that.
And Amazon paid for all of them, right?
Amazon paid
Amazon.
for every single trip,
That's
100%.
right.
That's
No,
crazy.
yeah. This Q4 was great. Next one's going to be even better. Today was great. Tomorrow is going to be even better. We're learning every single day, and we're figuring out how to become better individually and in our businesses every single day. There's always something that we can learn and then apply to do better next time. And you guys have both kind of mentioned how Q1 is still good. I cannot even tell you how many DMs I got saying, should I still be sending in shipments to Amazon? Yes, why would you stop? Guys, Amazon does not close its doors December 31st. Q1 is great. Q2 is, great. Q3 is great. Amazon as a whole is great all year round. They don't stop. You have 100 plus million customers all year round, and the business is only growing. Yes, Q4 has increased volume, and we want to be going extra hard during Q4 and preparing for up to Q4, but the business is still going to be great tomorrow. We need to continue pumping in shipments. Q1 specifically, why it's great, there's a lot of different reasons, but a lot of people, we just had Christmas. A lot of people got Amazon gift cards and they're going to be spending those now and especially through like the end of January. So January can still be a really, increased volume month as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the time to also start planning for the next big, spending holiday, which in this case would be Valentine's Day. It's not like Q4 where you have all of November and December that you're spending for Christmas, but Valentine's Day hits for a short time, but it hits really hard. There's
Does
like a
it?
good like there's a good like week and a half that like Valentine's Day seasonal products just are home runs across the board. So definitely be prepared for that. If you want to do some FBA, definitely look into the keep a history and
Hmm.
look at the data. Send those items in now, and definitely be prepared to get some for FBM as well for sure. Do you guys have
I,
anything else to
I've
say
I've
on that
got a
topic?
question here. Now I've heard you guys say this on this video. I know we heard it on the last podcast. You guys have mentioned um, uh, money, shortage of money, finding new ways to get cash flow. So this seems to be a new thing this year. Is this always going to be a constant problem since you guys are always trying to grow? Or is this a problem you guys can find a solution to that will solve it for good for the future?
That's a really good question. So first, let's go over ways to find new capital. A lot of people will do this through expanding line credit cards, so like Amex, Plum, Platinum, Gold, where they start you off with, let's say, you'll have 10 grand that you're available to spend now. Pay us back that 10 grand. We're going to take it to 25, 30. Pay us back that 25, 30. We're going to expand it to 50, 60, whatever. So it's kind of fixed, but really the more you pay back, they're going to heavily expand that. Capital One Spark is another good one. So credit cards are a good option. Know what you're doing. If you're a beginner, you shouldn't be leveraging any kind of debt, regardless of it's credit card or whatever. Make sure you're in the game and really know what you're doing first. Another good option is lines of credit. Hit up your bank, whoever you use, see if they can get you a line of credit. Some people borrow money from friends and family, maybe even find investors. So these are all definitely options. And eventually you can get Amazon loans as well. Those will just pop up in your Amazon account. And I think that they're a great option. So those are some ways that you can go about getting financing. And then as far as your question for, is this always going to be a problem? I think it is always going to be there if you're trying to aggressively grow your business. Once you get to the point where you're kind of, you've reached your intentional plateau, this is where I want to be. This is how much money I want to spend. This is how much money I want to make every single month. Then you can utilize your existing lines of credit and potentially even come back to just a cash basis whenever you have enough money sitting around. But if you're trying to aggressively grow your business, getting access to more and more capital is always going to be a problem.
Yep.
Quick story in here. If you don't know Logan personally, then he's a bit abnormal on this podcast in that he talks a lot more than he might if you work for him. And when I first started working for Logan, he was the one word answer, do this, get it done kind of guy. Totally fine. But one day I'm down, I'm working for him, and all of a sudden the chair flips over, the loudest scream I've ever heard, blood curdling. All right, he comes running out of the room. This guy barely even, like, he doesn't talk much. Runs out of the room, runs straight past me. I'm like, what? Runs upstairs. I don't see him for a bit. I just keep working because I'm on the clock. He comes back down the stairs and he goes, I need to break something, and like threw something on the floor. It didn't break, and I was just looking at him. I was like, what just happened? He had gotten, like, what was it, $34,000 loan?
$43,000
Yeah.
line of credit offer. And then the best part about this story is whenever I actually went to apply for it, I got denied.
Yeah.
It was a
called his
Marcus
mom
line of credit
everything.
loan
Yeah.
offer in my Amazon account. And then I went to apply and I got rejected after freaking out.
It was one of the early wildest moments I had ever. It was Logan in rare form. And we did go out and we did break something, though. It was.
We broke that Dymo. Oh,
Yeah.
man. Dymos are the worst. Shout out Rolo.
Yep. Rolo.
Shout out Rolo. I need to get a wireless one for sure here soon.
So
But what
after
is-
that little detour, back to what Logan just asked. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. What is up with those Marcus loans? I feel like half of the people that I talk to are too scared to apply for it because everyone that they've asked to has always been declined for that
Yeah, I
line
don't
of
know.
credit. They'll like offer 43,000, and then they'll either decline you or approve you for like 5 or 10 grand.
Yeah, I don't know. They gave me another offer. I don't know when it
Today,
was.
I got one today.
Are you gonna
Oh.
apply?
That's
No,
really funny.
What's
Dude,
the
see
holdup?
what happens, man.
I
Break
don't like being rejected, man. It's okay.
Come
I'm
on.
good. I'm good. I'll
Hey,
Cisco,
scared
I'll
money doesn't make
Cisco,
money.
right now your answer is no. You currently
Yeah.
don't have that line of credit. Why don't you just apply for it and see what happens?
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, but every
The worst thing
rejection
that
just
happens,
takes a
the
little
worst
bit of
thing
my
that
soul.
happens is they say no, and then you go break your Dymo.
If you
What
get
if I don't have a
nothing
Dymo?
out- if you get nothing else out of this podcast episode, please get the crazy story from Logan, because it was a dime. And number 2, your answer's
dime.
already no in life.
Go for
Just
the
go
yes.
for the yes. I mean, there's
Yes.
nothing holding you back.
Yes, suck. I'm gonna go apply for it, get declined, get my heart
There you
broken
go.
all over again.
Hey,
Yes,
here's the
suck.
beautiful thing about getting your heart broken, Cisco. Number 1, gym motivation for the next month and a half or whatever. And number 2, you got beautiful friends like us here to, pick up the shattered pieces of your heart.
Of my declined 40K loan. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
But yeah, so the credit cards might be a better, more safer option than opening up other lines of credit, is what I'm hearing.
I would say a line of credit is safer because it's longer term.
Okay.
Cisco, what do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. I just think it also just depends on your situation. Maybe you don't have the best credit, and so you can't get credit. So it might be better to try to, crowdfund with your family, friends, investors, whatever may have you. It just depends on your situation. But yeah, I think going back to the original question, is capital always going to be an issue? It's going to be an issue if, like Logan said, you're trying to continuously grow aggressively in your business. But as soon as you hit a certain line that you're happy with when it comes to your business and how much income it's providing for you guys, then no, it's not going to become as much of an issue just because you have a set method, you have a routine of which your business runs off of. And unless something dramatic happens within the business, you lose a supplier if you're doing wholesale, or something happens to one of your money making ASINs, then capital really isn't going to be that much of an issue if you're good with where you at. But if you're trying to continuously grow, yeah, capital is always going to be an issue. 100%. Always. You're always going to need more capital to make more money.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just kind of how this line of business works. And that's just any line of business. I mean, think about it. Like, let's say you only have $1 million cash, right? And you use that to invest in stocks or real estate, right? Then you're capped out, and then you find another deal for another real estate property
Yeah.
or some more inventory in this case. Like you're always going to need that extra capital because you're once you get to a certain point, there's not enough inventory that you can buy. Like
What do you mean
you
by that?
if you have $1 million, you can go out there and buy a bunch of inventory for not only Amazon but for other ventures. Like if you're a real serial entrepreneur, then you're always going to have different business ideas going on in your head that are going to need funding to be able to turn those investments and those entrepreneurial ideas and business ideas that you have into cash flowing, you know, money pigs. So there's never going to be enough capital for a real entrepreneur that's always
Okay.
trying to continuously grow and grow and grow,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I agree.
Do you ever have a day where you're just like handed a cash line or cash flow of like $70,000 and you're like, I need to spend this in the next 2 days? Or do you ever have that problem?
Where like I have so much money that I need to just spend it now.
Yeah, but you can only spend it on inventory. It's not like what Cisco just said, where you can spend it on different business ventures.
I've had that problem before. Generally now with my team though, we're having more than enough inventory opportunities coming in, like so that we're already able to spend our existing capital. But yeah, I've had that problem before. And my
What
solution for it was buying leads lists so that I could just buy ready to go leads.
would you say that was subpar spent money, or that's good?
It's a good temporary solution, but I've talked about this before. Leads lists are a good entry and they're a good kind of band-aid solution, but long term you want to be building out your own team like I have now.
Hmm. And so let me ask you this. Is there a good or better time to start building out a team? Is there a money bracket in there that's good, or is there a
Yeah,
like
as
a
far as money goes, when you have more money than time, right? So you
okay.
have exactly like you're talking about, right? You have all this money to spend, but you don't have enough time to go find the leads yourself. So you need to start building out your own team so that you have more inventory opportunities coming in that you can spend your capital on.
Hmm.
Yep. Spend the money to make yourself more efficient. But like Logan always says, buy your time back to
Mm-hmm.
continuously improve on your business.
Yep.
I think one of the roadblocks that I come into or that I keep running into is that I'm a little bit of a control freak when it comes to my business, and I need to just let it go, so I can continuously have more free time to do other things and to continue expanding it out.
I once saw, like, I think it was probably a reel, but it basically was saying this: one of the fallacies of business owners that prevents them from growth is them thinking of the best every aspect of their business. And even if they are truly the best at it, they need to learn to let it go. But more likely than not, you can find someone who can do it better than you and more efficiently than you, or even you can just find ways or other areas that you're more efficient at. So you need to let that one aspect go and hire team
Mhm.
members to step in and take over.
Yep, 100%. I 100% agree with that, and it's just kind of the execution part of that for me. I think
Mm.
I'm just stubborn, but definitely agree with what you just said, and it's something that I continuously try to work on. I think hiring a VA was a big leap for myself in general because it wasn't really about the money. It was just about like, what if I find a better lead if I spent the time to do it? Which I probably would, but at the same time, then I wouldn't have had time to join you guys on this podcast. I wouldn't have time to edit this podcast. I wouldn't have time to spend with my family. So it's just a kind of a give and take thing.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
So Logan, now that Q4 is ending, what piece of advice do you have for new sellers who just finished their first Q4, going back, kind of hitting the reset button, going back into Q1?
Yeah, yeah. So definitely keep pumping out those shipments like we were talking about. And I think through January, gift card season, we'll still see some good increased volume. But I would say start to kind of lower your expectations in terms of your own volume. So during Q4, my team is generally buying close to double what we would normally buy in the rest of the year. So maybe you just started right before Q4 and you were, buying 50 of this product all at once to test it, which that's crazy. I would even during Q4 do a smaller test buy. But let's say you were doing 50. Now maybe you should dial that back to 20 to 25. And a better example for all of our test buys, we're generally doing like 3 to 5 units. During Q4 we might get like up to 10 on a test order. So start to dial back in your test orders, lower your expectations in terms of volume, but keep pumping. Start to go wider if you have more capital available. Go wide, not deep, and keep sending in those shipments.
Love it. Yeah, I think the one thing I would add to that is if you're brand new and this was your first Q4, maybe you won't necessarily experience a decline because if you're just starting out, you might just be hitting, 10K a month, 20K a month, 30K a month. And I think the main thing that you're going to want to do that's kind of changed is definitely dive further into that keep it chart because there's going to be a bunch of products and ASINs that you're going to run into that spiked because of Q4, right? So you're going to want to go a little bit further back into the
Yeah,
Keepa data than just the last 90 days,
that's a good
because
tip.
a lot of those spikes are going to be Q4 specific. So look at the full year. If they're newer ASINs, tread lightly. If it only has 128 days of the ASIN history, tread lightly, and then just kind of make logical choices, right? If they're toys and Amazon has historically been on the listing, but they're not right now because they've been sold out for the past 2 months, then maybe you might want to stay away because there's a chance that they're going to get back in stock because it's no longer Q4, the volume's not there any longer, and so they're able to replenish. So definitely dive deep into that data.
Yeah,
It's crazy how many traps there are in this business.
So
Like there's
many.
so much data you have to learn how to read.
thankfully we have
Crazy.
Keepa.
Yeah. But
Thankfully,
even
you have the
Keepa, I mean,
doughboys to help you out.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that tip, I've never heard that before. That's a pretty advanced tip because like Keepa in itself, yeah, I agree with you, Logan. Thank God we have it, but it's pretty complex to learn how to read those numbers.
Yeah, it takes practice for sure. But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, you're mainly just looking at like 4 to 5 data points and getting really good at analyzing those 4 to 5 data points. It just takes a lot of practice looking at a lot of Keepa charts.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
setting up those red flags for yourself too to
Yep.
kind of be indicators of okay, why does this look weird?
Yeah.
And kind of digging
Yeah.
deep on those.
It's you know, you trained me a little bit and you would show me there was basically a couple points that I was looking for. I was like, okay, this is pretty safe. But every once in a while you showed me one, you would be like, what would you do with this? And it was just something I'd never seen before. And you hadn't
Yeah.
even seen it before. And
hmm
then it's like, okay, what do I do? How do I approach this? What am I looking for here? Where did you guys what were some sources when you were first looking at Keepa that taught you guys how to read those data points, what data points you were looking for, or was it all
I,
just reps?
I just sent my ASINs to Logan and asked him if it was good or not. And
Yeah, he
depending on
still
From the
his
does
get
that.
answer,
go? What'd you do before you knew Logan?
I knew Logan from the beginning.
Oh,
I actually did that to Cisco like 2 days ago because I didn't have access to Keepa. It was just like, should I buy this?
that's
But no,
crazy.
shout out House of Buddies, Nate Jackson. I learned a lot from them on reading Keepa. Who else? Shout out Chris Grant from the OA Challenge. He's like one of the
Chris
most
Grant's a big
qualified
one.
Keepa teachers out there. I would say those were kind of the main two. I mean, I'm sure there were a lot of other YouTube videos, but Nate Jackson from House of Buddies and then Chris Grant were two really good resources.
Yeah, I would echo that. Clear the shelf, Chris Grant for sure. And then just a little bit from everyone. Like Logan would hop on lives and kind of go through and then mention some things on Keepa, and then so would Checkmate Flips, and a bunch of other
Shout out
people would
Seth.
just shout out Seth. They all kind of get in there, and I'd kind of just grab little nuggets from everybody, and then I kind of just build my own idea of what my Keepa chart should look like before I make a purchase.
Yeah.
And Keep is also, it looks very difficult, and it is. There's a lot of things to know, but it's also pretty logical. Like if you see
Yeah.
a bunch of sellers hopping on and the price hasn't tanked yet, there's a likelihood it's going to. So
Just stay away from rank. Rank doesn't matter. Remember that.
yeah. Rank doesn't
And
matter.
if you see a big yellow orangish line, AZ, just don't go near it. All right, unless you're doing an A to A flip.
Yeah,
Logan?
there you go. I love
Yeah, I
AA
would say
reviews.
as a beginner, if you're seeing Amazon all over the listing, you should probably just stay away. Once you really know what you're doing, there's some caveats there.
It's
Yeah,
like
it's
panning
definitely one
for
of those
gold.
barrier to entries for sure because it takes a
Yeah.
little more finessing.
Yeah,
Those ones
Cisco
And you
and
can
I were
get
just talking
burned.
about an Amazon listing today.
Yeah.
Did A to A.
Did it go through? Did the
It
order go
went
through?
through. It went
I'll
through.
bet. I'm like low key annoyed because I'm going on my trip I leave Thursday, so they come in 2 days if I order them online, but they're just gonna be sitting on my porch until I get back. That's why I should outsource
Where are you going
everything
on
to
your
a prep
trip?
center. Oh, just a magical place in Florida.
You know what? When I drive by it this time, because I drive by there, I'm gonna send you some photos
Bet,
of the
bet, bet, bet.
signs.
Of
Yeah.
the signs. When do you
The
drive back?
sign. I'll be driving up sometime this weekend,
All right, bet.
week, something like that. I don't know.
Tr-
I'm on vacation, man. I don't know.
Do you even know what day it is?
It's Tuesday.
Oh.
I got that one. It's a good question.
All right, guys. I think it's that time in the episode for Logan to give us his quote of the day.
Let's do this. The universe is extremely giving. If you actually try and you actually want it, and you're actually not just making excuses, you're going to get what you want. See you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.